Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. Dude, how about this weather? Had to break out the jacket again. I don't dress fancy at work, but if it's cool enough that I don't get sweat rings under my armpits, I usually wear a jacket to work just so people know I give a crap about what's going on over here. But what is it, 83 degrees? And this is, September 9th? It's supposed to be 1,000 degrees. It's still supposed to feel like the surface temperature of Mercury. And it's not raining or anything. It's just, this is a fake fall is what they're doing. Hey, listen, before we get into my first guest, a couple of updates. Number one, we're doing it right this time. We have the bingo cards for tomorrow's presidential debate. They're already up on the website, WBAP.com, so you don't have to email me and then I send you the Google link and you got to go download them your damn self. No, I made it super simple. So not only did I put them up on the website, I shared out the link to where they are on WBAP.com on our Facebook page and on our Twitter page. And I tied it to the foot of a homing pigeon and chucked it out the window. So whether you go to our unofficial party, we're going to be joining the American Jewish Conservatives at the Angelica Theater to watch it. You're welcome to come. It's open to the public. But most people, look, you're not going to go. I understand. You're going to play at home. So print them out. There's 4 different varieties. So if you have like a bunch of people you're playing with, or maybe if it's just you and the wife, you can each play 2 cards yourself and see who wins. And then after you're done, take a picture of your bingo cards and send them in. And you can include yourself in them. And I want you to be completely oblivious to what's in the background, because I noticed that was sort of a recurring pattern when, for the debate that happened in June. You people, you can tell a lot about the James Show listeners by what's up in the background. If you don't want me to share it out on social media or anything, just tell me and I won't share it out. So that's fine. If you want to be private but still say, hey, James, we appreciate the bingo cards, you can do both. Email me, james@wbap.com. 57 days till the debate. My first guest, Mina Bose, is back on the James Show. Tomorrow is going to be the first debate. Will this be the only debate? What do you think about that, Mina?
Well, thanks for having me back. I think let's see what happens here. I think whoever does better, if one candidate really does well, then the might be willing to do it again. I think if a candidate has a experience like what President Biden had on June 27th, then they certainly won't want to do it again. If it's a draw and they each kind of have some good moments, I'm not sure that they'll be able to easily agree to terms for a second debate. So we should give it our full attention tomorrow, because it might be the only presidential debate, general election one we get.
I think the rules kept changing on us in this one. I'm not even sure. We're gonna have the unmuted mics, right?
No, it's going to be the same. I believe it's going to be the same as what it was for the Biden-Trump debate, the muted mics.
Okay,
that's what it was on June 27th. The Harris campaign had wanted the mics to be unmuted, but they did ultimately agree to keep the same rules as before. So they'll be muted when the other candidate is speaking.
Do we know if there's going to be a crowd there?
No, that era is. I think that era of general election debates is over. This will be it'll be in Philadelphia at the Constitution Center. I was actually in Philadelphia for a conference, and they're setting up there. And no, there will not be an audience.
How do we feel about the moderators? They were a non-factor, thankfully, in June. But will they try and pull out some guns here for this debate?
They will be. I think that the two of them will try to focus on policy. They'll try to get at some tough questions for both candidates. But ultimately, the role of moderator, I would say, is to kind of guide the discussion and then stay out of the way and let the candidates speak. It's a short debate, relatively 90 minutes. There's a lot to cover. I think the fact that the focus of the June 27th debate was the candidates and not the commentators, not the moderators, was a good thing. Right.
Totally agree to that. All right, so coming into this home stretch here, we are 57 days away. I don't see how either side could really come up with an October surprise, but I guess that's what makes it a surprise. What do you think, Mina?
Well, I guess in the 21st century, we would just say you never know. Obviously, for the Trump campaign, the decision in New York, the judge to postpone the sentencing until after the election was significant. On the Harris side, the fact that Vice President Harris is an incumbent and in office, anything can happen in politics, right? In the world that could be consequential for someone who is sitting president or vice president who is running for office. So, I just literally can't predict. We know there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, with changes in the economy or other unexpected crises. It's very difficult to say, but we are 8 weeks away, and every day counts.
All right, Mina Bose, how do they find your work outside of WBAP?
Oh, if you just look up hofstra.edu, you'll find the projects that I'm working on through our Presidential Studies Center and the Public Policy Program. It's pretty easy to look it up on any search engine.
All right.
Thank you.
I think I'm coming back to see you in June. I'll be at Hofstra for the Talkers Conference, I think.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so if we remember each other in, what is that, 8 months or something, I'll say hi. All right, that's Mina Bose. But what do you think? Do you think this debate is going to be a game changer? It's just coming up tomorrow, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I wouldn't underestimate the moderator's ability to try and throw some torpedoes and sink some ships tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up. 800-288-9227. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Comments, predictions, what do you think is going to happen at the debate tomorrow? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm looking for you people who think something's going to happen at the debate tomorrow. Someone's going to try and sink a ship. Someone's going to try and ask a saucy question, or I don't guess there's really such thing as a trick question when you're an adult like this. But what do you think is going to happen? 800-288-9227. I think we are going to see after this debate a different approach by the moderators. You're expecting the moderators that were there in June. That's a mistake. The moderators that were there in June were fair, pretty damn balanced, as far as you can expect. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, both of which have gotten in check, just been in Democrat activism. I mean, Jake Tapper used to be a staffer on a Democrat congressman. He was like a spokesman. He was a guy that went out to the media and did press conferences on behalf of Democrats. Worked for like a gun control place. Dana Bash's first husband was one of the 51 spooks that signed the Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation letter as the October surprise from 4 years ago. However, their allegiance is not to Joe Biden. Their allegiance is to the cause. And if getting rid of Joe Biden helps the cause, then that was actually their mission in June. Their mission was to actually all they had to do is be fair, let the American people see an honest, open assessment of this man and his mental incapabilities. And they could actually fix a problem that they were having because they were on the way to losing the election. So actually being fair was the right thing for the cause. Now, being fair is not the right thing for the cause in tomorrow's debate. You are not going to see the same moderator. I promise. I'm not very good at predictions, but I have a really strong feeling about this is one of the, whenever you're doing something political or trying to make a political prediction, however just negative and cynical and skeptical of the human beings behind those suits that you may already be, take it up a notch. That's what I foresee happening tomorrow. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Now, happening all around that circus, Kamala Harris isn't going out and doing interviews, but she has a lot of surrogates doing it. She has people on her staff. She has Liz Cheney, who's done like 18 interviews in the last week, and Kamala Harris has done 0. But they're trying to paint this new picture of, boy, oh boy, Kamala Harris, the moderate. Yep, she sure is moderate. I mean, she's so moderate, can you even call her a progressive anymore? This is not an exaggeration. I brought the receipts. I've got the goods. Just hold out your little Halloween, your trick-or-treat bucket, and I'll drop them in just a second. Now, there's a couple of approaches to this. Is the dismissive, well, this is what everyone does in every presidential election cycle. They run to the extremes during the primary, then they run to the center during the general election. Well, first off, she didn't have a primary. Secondly, it's not that oh, she's kind of a moderate Democrat and they're playing that up. For the 2 years of a voting record we have in this for her in the Senate, for 1 year, she was the most liberal senator. So it's just a huge lie, just a beyond a stretch to even think, hey, yeah, this lady with the most liberal voting record last time she was in the Senate, yeah, she's totally a moderate. I don't even know. I don't even know if we can call her a progressive anymore. So Bernie Sanders go out there and talk to Kristen Welker from MSNBC. Dick Cheney will do a couple interviews. Let's look at some of these and look at how they're trying to paint this Bob Ross picture, these happy trees. She's such a moderate. Yeah, it's right there.
I want to get to that in a moment. But first, you've made it abundantly clear that you have had policy disagreements with Harris. You still have policy disagreements with Harris. But she has moderated her positions on a whole range of issues from where she was just a few years ago. Did those moderations and the efforts to present kind of a moderate face at the Democratic convention?
All right. Now, half of my WBAP listeners, especially the ADLs, you all-day listeners, God bless you for listening and sitting through that. I know that was really hard. People who are kind of new or kind of flipping through and accidentally just landed on it. The reason why we all just like throw our hands up is, oh, it's moderate. Because another word you could use for instead of she moderated her positions, you could say, here's some other words. I'm not a thesaurus, just throwing it out there. She flip-flopped on her positions. She turned her back on her position. She abandoned her principles on her positions. She's been bought off. I don't know. Well, we don't know, but it's the nicest possible description for someone flip-flopping you have ever heard in political history. She's moderating on her positions. She's moderating? Is that what it is? You go from wanting to ban fracking to all of a sudden, I don't need to ban fracking. That's not moderating. Number one, it's lying. Of course, she's anti-fracking. She just knows it's not going to win her any votes. It might lose her Pennsylvania, but on all these other positions, she's not running to the center. She's pretending to not think those things. What? I never wanted to ban plastic straws. No, I'm a moderate on straws. What? You're a straw moderate? Stop it. Fine, I'm a straw extremist. Here's my position on straws. Make them out of whatever you damn well want. The government has no business telling you whether they're made out of plastic or whether they're made out of paper or whether they're made out of... You could just use like an empty paper towel tube and you could just put that in a margarita and 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm not saying tomorrow's going to be a bloodbath, but I'm saying that the moderators are going to be throwing some spears at Donald Trump, and this may not go the way you think it'll go. Like I'm okay. I'm about 60% sure Trump will do just fine, but not 100%. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we're going to talk about people in the job search. How often do they have to settle for a lower paying career than they previously had? We'll talk about that next and then get back to debate prep. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Homeowners, listen up. Everyone agrees. Your insurance company, Bob Vila, guys that run those shows on the weekends, you need to have your roof inspected every year. If it's more than 7 years old, you need to have someone go up there and check it out and find small problems, because a roof is like a compounding problem. You have a small problem in the roof and you don't get it fixed soon, you don't find it soon, you don't get it taken care of and patched, you're going to have huge problems somewhere else in your house, and it's going to be just exponentially more expensive than if you took advantage of Paradigm Roofing's 23-point roof inspection. And you know how much it is? It's your favorite price. Free. Not a joke. Not a setup. It's not like, okay, yeah, but you got to pay for shipping and handling. No, they come out there, they inspect your roof. Hopefully everything's fine. They give you a high five. They go over everything they looked at and take pictures for you. And then we'll just see you again next year. But if you do need some help, they'll give you an estimate. And if worse comes to worse, you need a whole new roof, you can mention you heard it on the James Show. $500 off if you need a whole new roof. I know the owner of Paradigm, Greg Hiltz. Over the past few months, we've been getting to know each other, and he's the type of guy you want to do business with. If it's time for a new roof or you just need to get yours checked out, call Paradigm Roofs. 972-542-7774. ParadigmRoofs.com or 972-542-7774. Hey, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM at 93.3. Now I know you're messing with me. You sent me an email on that break asking for the bingo cards. Listen, the debate's tomorrow. We're doing presidential debate bingo again. I made bingo cards. Dude, it worked so good in June. I had so much good feedback. People were sending in pictures. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to WBAP.com and I want you to go. You'll see it. It's on the front page. You'll see the link. Go get your debate cards. And look, if you want to print all 4 of them, that's cool. But if you're just playing at home, maybe you and the wife each get 1 or you each get 2. But you're going to play. Every time you hear those words, you're going to black out that square. And if you get a bingo, whoever gets the bingo first wins. My cards did bingo, all but one. I think all but one of them bingoed last time at some point in the debate. And then when you're done, send me a picture. Some people just send me pictures of their bingo card because they don't want to be in it. Okay, that's fine. I prefer like if you hold it up like next to your head, maybe give me the old Trump thumbs up, or I don't know, you can shoot me the bird if you want. Just I like to see people out there having fun with the bingo cards. And I think I'm going to make a picture gallery with the results. Last time I got a whole bunch of pictures, but it took like 3 or 4 days to get them all in. And then the weekend happened and I was real lazy about it. And I said I was going to make a gallery and I didn't. But we're far more organized this time around. So go get your bingo cards. Go watch the debate tomorrow. Mark them out. Just play along. Get a Sharpie or do it and poke your finger and do it in blood if you want. And then send me a picture. It just adds a little. You're going to be watching the debate anyway. It's like adding a little spice to it, getting a little action in on it. So go to WBAP.com for that. And when you're ready to send me the pictures, send them to James at WBAP.com. All right, we were having some fun with this newfound moderation. Have you heard of the moderate Kamala Harris? I mean, she is she's just right in the middle. I mean, you can't even peg what she's so moderate. I don't even know if you can call her progressive. Did you know that? Did you know the lady who the last time she was in the Senate, the last year she was in the Senate, had the most liberal voting record? Did you know she's so moderate now, though? I mean, I don't even know what to call her. She could be anything. We may never know. You might just have to vote for her to find out. So this is Kristen Welker with Bernie Sanders. I just want to play you Kristen Welker, the host on MSNBC, throwing this out there.
Let me zoom out a little bit. You have described Vice President Kamala Harris as a progressive. She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Boy, these people are just garbage, aren't they? Abandoning her progressive, literally the most progressive voting record in the Senate. Yeah, she's abandoning her conservative. I don't even know if we can call her progressive anymore. These are the same people that brought you just a couple months ago. Yeah, Joe Biden's the best candidate we have out of a nation of 335 million people to be our president. He's not demented or senile at all. Yeah, these are the same people that brought you your other favorite hoaxes like Jussie Smollett got beat up by dudes in MAGA hats. These are the same people that told you the Olympic opening ceremony, that's not making fun of the 10 Commandments. That's Dionysus, you uneducated, inbred, window-licking hillbilly. I mean, they lied. These are the same people that told you about masks. These same people that told you the vaccine's going to work. These same people that told you inflation's transitory. Now, Kamala Harris, so moderate. I mean, gosh, she's abandoning her progressive values. Yeah, so right-wingers should vote for her. Is that what you're saying? Sure, right. And Joe Rogan took horse dewormer too, right? Just stop it. You know, if your values are so great and you're asking the American people to vote on them, shouldn't you not hide them? Shouldn't you not run from them? Shouldn't you not deny them? You're asking people to vote for a progressive. No, she's definitely not a progressive, and she doesn't believe in any of those policies. She doesn't want to ban fracking. She doesn't want to ban straws. She doesn't want to raise all these taxes. She wants to do what Trump wants to do. No taxes on tips. Yeah, that's what she wants. That's the ticket. I want to build a wall. Who's buying this? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. We got so much going on. Tomorrow's a debate. Then I'm going to tell you about another event that's coming up on Thursday. John Rich is going to be in town, but it's for sort of a conservative political activist cause. And then we have just more stuff coming up after that. When I'm in about a half hour, I'm going to give away tickets to see Tucker Carlson live with Roseanne Barr. They're going to be at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth September 24th. So, yeah, we're a busy little crew over here. Listen, I need you to do some of the work yourself. I'm not sending you the bingo cards this time around. I put them up on WBAP.com. So when you want to play debate bingo tomorrow while you're watching the presidential debate, I have 4 different varieties. I updated them with some Kamala specific terms, and I think you're going to love them. It was a big hit when we did it in June, and you can go download them right now, WBAP.com. I shared it out on the Facebook page, shared it out on the Twitter. I tied it to the back of a donkey and turned it to your house and slapped its butt. So it's on its way. Ashley Hayek is my next guest back on the James Show, and we've been previewing the debate for most of the show today, Ashley. And 57 days until the election. I think this may or could be a huge factor just because Kamala is doing so little media elsewhere.
Well, that's exactly right. And we saw what happened after the last debate with President Trump. Joe Biden had to drop out of the race. And so it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. Also, mail ballots are being sent out, and early voting is starting in swing states like Pennsylvania next week. So the timing could not be more important. And it's really a key opportunity to influence the direction of this election, more so, I think, than the president and Kamala have, both in positive and then for Kamala Harris in negative ways.
So the tiny fraction, this little 2-3% of the population that we call swing voters, what do you think could win them over tomorrow?
So there's a couple of things. Number one, I think this debate is particularly significant for Kamala Harris because she's one of the most unpopular vice presidents in modern history, and she has high unfavorable ratings, not just from Republicans, but voting groups like Black and African Americans, suburban women, Hispanics. Many of these voters are concerned about her policies on issues like border security, inflation, and also radical gender ideology. Are you going to continue to push an agenda of allowing boys to compete in women's sports or allow children to have sex changes without their parents knowing? And so those types of groups, they will be exposed to hearing from her radical agenda. She can't hide who she is at the end of the day. She's had surrogates go out and speak on her behalf, but she also has a record. And I think Donald Trump is going to really elevate and expose that record tomorrow night. And one more point on this.
Sure.
She has a very delicate balance on international matters. For example, Israel-Palestine conflict. That will be under incredible scrutiny, particularly in states like Michigan and Minnesota, where these topics could hold significant weight with key voting blocs. We saw people in both of those states show up to vote uncommitted, and that the margins at which they voted uncommitted and would not vote for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, that would ultimately swing that state. So it's clear that she's walking a very fine line. Her record does very little to inspire confidence. And the needle she's going to have to thread tomorrow, she does not have any room for errors, whereas people know what they're getting with Donald Trump. They know he could be a little rough around the edges, but they know what his policies are, and he hasn't changed on those policies. So that's going to be really the difference between the two.
So one of the moderators is ABC anchor David Muir, Muir. There's a great breakdown on newsbusters.org where they show that he is the most pro-Harris left-wing anchor. 100% of his coverage of Kamala Harris was positive. 93% of the coverage for Trump was negative. Go look at the study on not you, Ashley, but the people listening to us. Go check out the study. It's at newsbusters.org. I'm concerned the moderators are going to be a factor tomorrow.
I mean, there's no doubt, and we knew that. We've always known that going into those situations because that was the only way that Kamala Harris would likely agree to the debate. If you look at the first sit-down interview that she had with Dana Bash and CNN, she brought her emotional support governor along with her, Tim Walz.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
She took the softball questions, and Dana didn't push hard on her. And that's exactly what we'll expect. The president knows that. He's been through this several rounds. And I think the American people are smart enough to see through that. Joy doesn't buy groceries. Vibes doesn't get you more votes.
I like that. Ashley, hi. Good job. How can they find your work outside of WBAP, Ashley?
We are on AmericaFirstWorks.com, and we need lots of help reaching voters to make sure our message gets far and wide during this election season.
Thank you very much for your time, Ashley. Thanks for being on the James Show again.
Thank you.
Your thoughts? Did you know that about the moderators? The most politically slanted anchor in all of the networks, according to newsbusters.org. I think they're going to try and drop some sandbags at the debate tomorrow. That's going to be the thing to watch. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. I'm James Parker. Coming up, more debate preview coming up on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. What would you like to see happen at tomorrow's debate? What do you think's going to happen at tomorrow's debate? I'm keeping a side eye on the moderators. They're no dummies. They are very politically minded. And look, when you're in that situation, if you've been convinced that Trump is Hitler, wouldn't you use, abuse, and take advantage of your spot as a moderator to possibly stop Hitler? Wouldn't you do some things that would stretch your ethical code in other situations because you're trying to stop Hitler? If you went back in time and someone presented you with an infant, there's no way you would kill it. But what if it was Hitler? I'm not saying you would kill Hitler as a baby, but you would give it a little more consideration than any other baby out there, would you? See, once they can make you believe absurdities, i.e. Trump is Hitler, they can make you stretch your morals. That's what I'm worried about. 800-288-9227. This is Rick in Dallas. You're on WBAP. What do you think?
I'm curious how many George Floyd murals Kamala intends to have on her border wall.
Yeah, right. So she'll probably commission them, and then it'll be paid for with taxpayer dollars. And yeah, it'll probably be celebrated. They might have a mural march where they just parade down it and show all the beautiful murals of St. George Floyd. And yeah, I feel a little bit of sarcasm in there, but it's hilarious because it's based in a kernel of truth, Rick.
Well, yeah, you got to wonder, like, if a migrant defaces the mural, is that like an automatic deportation? Is like what? What
now look, you went second level there. Congratulations, because that would be a hate crime. You're right. That would be. Look, you're defacing what is a civil rights memorial. My goodness, Rick, what are you? Are you in a Klan's robe right now? Are you wearing a hood, Rick? Is that what's going on?
No, but I do tell you what. If I was approaching the border and I saw, the Pride mural right next to a George Floyd mural, I think I might turn around and head back where I came from.
Right, that might deter illegal immigration just accidentally. All right, Rick, you got any more jokes? You want to host tomorrow, or are you done?
I'll host tomorrow if you want me to.
All right, I appreciate that. If I get hit by a bus or something, we'll give Rick in Dallas a call. Thank you, sir. I don't take days off. I don't know if you've noticed that. I am scared to leave this seat for one whole day because my little access card might not work when I get back. I'm one of those guys. I like to worry too much. But Kamala Harris got another big, important endorsement. Well, I mean, look, some names you would just expect them to endorse a Democrat candidate. When you're talking about a historic, legendary liberal, a progressive activist, a progressive icon, really. I mean, what do you expect Dick Cheney to do? Let's ask Liz Cheney.
Dick Cheney, your father, a beloved figure among Democrats for many, many years. Do you, if you know who he will be supporting or who he'll be voting for, do you care to share with us who he might be voting for?
Dick Cheney will be voting for Kamala Harris.
Okay.
Why are you cheering? Y'all hate him. Dick Cheney was Darth Vader just a few years ago. What the heck's going on? Why do people pretend to not know things that they know? Why do they pretend to not know that they called Dick Cheney Darth Vader for 8 years? And that's not a joke. I could play the audio from The View. I could play you Ed Schultz on MSNBC saying which his pacemaker would go. I could play you Bill Maher. I checked this out just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I had an old montage from years ago that was like just liberals doing hate speech, and Dick Cheney was all over the same. Like he was at the very beginning. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but just let me play a couple pieces of this.
New rule: if Dick Cheney's days really are, as he says, numbered, he must go ahead and tell us that number. I am not wishing for him to die. I just need to put down a deposit for the caterer and the band.
Rush Limbaugh's beginning.
So yeah, there was a montage of a bunch of other, and Dick Cheney's back in that montage a few times, being called Darth Vader, and Ed Schultz talking about his pacemaker wanting to go out, and things like that. And now, oh, well, if you got the endorsement of Dick Cheney, well, what more can we say? I mean, if Dick Cheney says it, then the progressives must have the right candidate. That is bizarre. That should bother you because when you go back to, it was just 2008. This is the guy that was a vice president for the Republicans, and he's not supporting Republicans anymore. But he is on the side of the Democrats. It's not that he is like principled, like, man, I can't vote for a guy that gave us too much debt. No, he's actually endorsing the other side. So when you do think that there is this cabal of elites that have rigged the system and arranged society in a way that benefits them and crushes the little guy underfoot, well, who would that be? Who's on the same team? Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, now Dick Cheney. You also have George Bush, who says he's not supporting Trump. He hadn't gone so far as to endorse Kamala that I have seen. You also have a handful of other people. John McCain's not around, but his kid spoke and said, on his behalf, he's supporting Kamala. There's no way John McCain would ever vote for Trump. You have Romney speaking against him. You have Paul Ryan speaking. You even remember who Paul Ryan is? That was Romney's running mate in 2012. So let me get this straight. Basically, the last four Republican tickets have gone against Donald Trump and are encouraging you to vote for the Democrats. So they're all on the same side. So either Trump really is Hitler. He's just this big monster that's so bad and so evil and so dangerous for the country that both sides of the party have decided to come together to fight him, even though we had him for 4 years and none of that crazy stuff happened. Or he's a threat to the existing power structure because he truly is an outsider that nobody likes. Which one's more likely? 800-288-9227. Let me give you a hint. He's not Hitler. Steve in Irving, you're on WBAP. What do you think's going down tomorrow?
I'm hoping for some miracle of God to see Kamala Harris have a Jim Carrey liar, liar movie moment and the election is over.
What does that look like, Steve?
It looks like Kamala Harris just putting her foot in her mouth, having to tell the truth, and nothing she could do about it. And with that funny cackle, knowing she just screwed herself out of the election.
So do you think she's just going to like blow a fuse and Trump's going to get under her skin? She's going to be like, fine, I want to ban straws. Men can have babies. I don't want a border wall. I want to nationalize health care. Yeah, maybe.
Yes, that's what I want to see happen. And then the election is over tomorrow night.
I don't discount those personality predictions because you hear stories about like her and like Jimmy Fallon. I think Ellen DeGeneres is another one. I'm really skeptical of these people when I hear like they can't keep a personal assistant or a secretary for more than like 6 months and they're always cycling out of it. I mean, that's a sign you're a bad person in my book. 800-288-9227. This is John in Hurst. You're on WBAP. What do you think's happening at the debate?
Not too much of anything. I'm not really concentrated on it too much. I really don't think it really matters. I'm more interested in how they're going to steal the election again this year. And, I got an idea, but I think another January 6th-esque, if you will, needs to truly happen. We need a revolution. We need a revolt. We need to drag those people out of the White House and Congress and let them know we're not going to take this crap too much longer. I mean, I've taken up arms. I'm protecting myself, my family, and my friends, anybody that gives a crap to me. But when they steal this election this year, if we don't see an uprising, the United States is doomed.
Yeah, but
I think a lot of people forget. Dick Cheney shot that dude in the face on a hunting trip. That's when I lost respect for that dude because he can't even handle a gun.
Yeah, either he tried to kill his friend or that was an accident, and he's a goofball. But I don't think there's a point where we ever storm the Capitol. Even if we we lose entire faith in the federal government, I think we just secede.
Well, I mean, we truly need to do something. If it's that storming the Capitol and dragging them people out and let them know that we run this country, the people do, and not the politicians, nothing's going to change. We're just going to keep going down the same hole. And this country, like Donald Trump said, we're not going to have a country. We're losing a country. I'm only 50 years old, and we're losing this country, man. We are losing it. If we don't have an uprising, we're doomed.
Thank you very much. That's John in Hurst. Your thoughts, 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We're going to play Dead or Alive next. I'm going to give away some tickets to see Tucker Carlson and Roseanne Barr. And then we'll continue this conversation. What do you think is going to happen at the debate? Does it matter? Is it just going to be stolen anyway? If it is stolen, what are you going to do about it? 800-288-9227. 9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right, it ain't that serious. Dang. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Stop. You're going to get me all pumped up. I'm going to bust through the wall like the Kool-Aid, man. All right, look, I was talking with a guest earlier about some of the rules around the debate, and if it sounded kind of gray, it's because it is. And that's what I figured they would have cleared this up a little bit more by now. But let me give you the last report on what I've heard for the debate rules. This comes from CBSNews.com, so I'm not going to your drunk uncle's Facebook page or his Truth Social account or whatever. Check this out about the microphones. All right, this is why I keep asking, like, don't you know the rules, James? Listen, it's not that simple. So the Harris campaign wanted both microphones unmuted for the entire event. The Trump team said, I mean, we're cool with that, but we've already agreed to the muted rule. So, you know, if we could just not change anything, that'd be fine too. And so where did they end up with this? Listen to how CBSNews.com tries to explain it to you. All right. According to the Harris campaign, it was offered assurances on how crosstalk may be handled. The microphones may be unmuted if there is significant crosstalk between the candidates. A candidate who constantly interrupts their opponent will be warned by the moderator, and their comments may be relayed to the audience. And if microphones don't pick up the exchanges, a group of reporters who will be in the room would report anything noteworthy. If that doesn't sound shady, then you need to be more skeptical about what you're presented with in life. So we have muted microphones unless there's crosstalk. Microphones may be, not they're going to be unmuted. They may be unmuted if there's significant crosstalk. So who's to decide what crosstalk is significant and what isn't? There's going to be a human being deciding, selectively editing in real time using the mute button. That's what this is. This is an ability to curate in real time. This is ripe for abuse. I'm not saying it's going to be abused, but you've just set the stage for it to be abused. Either have them unmuted at all times or have them only unmuted when it's their turn to talk and have no crosstalk. But this little selective stuff, well, if we think there's significant crosstalk, we could unmute it for a little bit. And if we do cut some stuff off and the American people don't get to hear the rebuttal, who gets to pass along that information? Oh, reporters in the room. Oh, good. That makes me feel so much better because reporters have been so trustworthy and reliable about all these important stories, whether it's the Russia collusion or Hunter Biden's laptop or the very fine people quote or kids in cages or the Covington High School kids or Joe Rogan took horse dewormer or inflation's transitory or Biden's just fine and not senile. Those reporters, the reporters who were so dumb that they couldn't figure out the Jussie Smollett thing was a hoax for an entire month. Any of those reporters in the room? Any of the reporters that just got the Olympics opening ceremony being about Dionysus wrong, who lied about that or screwed that up? Can we get someone who doesn't have a track record of getting every major story of our lifetime wrong? Everything from mask work to vax works to anything economic to the Inflation Reduction Act to their global warming predictions. Are these the same people that told me that all the glaciers would be gone from Glacier National Park in Montana by 2020? Did any of them ever say that? Are we going to get anyone in there with a record of being right for that trusted job? Oh, no. I'm not saying this is going to go bad, but they have set it up to where it could. And you may think that, come on, James, who out there wants to rig the system in order for their candidate to work? Who wants to subvert democracy just to win? Are you kidding me? You're not allowed to listen to WBAP anymore if that's what you think. I'm just kidding. I don't care if you disagree with me. You need to listen at all times. But this is a little shady setup that I have some concern about. And Donald Trump hasn't talked about this. His campaign hadn't talked about this. They seem a little lackadaisical about this. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on these dudes. What do you think about that? They can just selectively turn the mics on and off whenever they want. And there's no way that they would abuse that power. This is the same day that you just learned from newsbusters.org that one of the moderators, David Muir, in his coverage, according to this newsbusters.org report, has been 100% positive for Harris, 93% negative for Donald Trump. Now, David Muir, if you don't know the name, that's fine. but millions of people watch him. He's the host of ABC's World News Tonight. And we talk about how Fox News is the number one cable channel. They have like 4 million people that listen in prime time. Well, this guy has a few million people that listen in prime time too. And so he has a pretty big reach. And this is what he's dedicated his show to. And this is the guy. This is going to be the impartial guy. Is he going to have his hand on the mute button? Who's going to be on the mute button? We don't know. No, these rules, they may be setting up something shady going on. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. You think they're going to try and abuse that? I'd love to hear from you. 57 days until the election. Hey, I know it seems like a long ways away. Christmas is around the corner. Coming to the American Airlines Center on December 22nd is Pentatonics, the Hallelujah It's a Christmas tour. I know we already got some Christmas stuff happening. You already saw Christmas decorations in the dollar store over the weekend. I did too. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but we're doing the giveaway. You can text the word SING to our phone number, 800-288-9227, for your chance to win a pair of tickets. That's SING to 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Ashley Thomas talking about the big debate between Trump and Kamala tomorrow night. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know. Good to see you, too. I'm pretty excited. I'm excited about the debate. Yes, there's a huge debate tomorrow. The debate bingo cards are now up. You can go to WBAP.com and grab them. If you're already goofing around on your phone on Facebook, you can find the WBAP Facebook page. They're linked there. They're on the WBAP Twitter account as well. I don't know. The X account still doesn't sound right. Are we ever going to get used to calling it X? So however you want to get them, print them out wherever you're watching the debate. You can play along. Send me the results. I love getting the pictures back from you. And thank you to all the people that share it out. You know, I tell you to share out stuff every day. You almost never do it, but the bingo cards are already a hit. I have like 16 shares out there, which is good for me. I just put it up at the beginning of the show. So thank you very much, all you guys out there. Every little share, every little like helps. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy, like you actually care. So thank you, Steve and Sammy and Heath and Sean and Tina, Jerry. Some guy named James Parker shared it out on his page. He looks really handsome too. My next guest, Ashley Thomas, is back on the James Show. And look, this is it for debate prep, and this may be it for the debates. Is this going to be a one and done debate, Ashley?
Yes. So tomorrow's debate right now is the only debate that's scheduled, both between former President Trump and Kamala Harris. So after tomorrow's debate, that is it. There'll be no more debates leading into the November election. So
57 days until the election. I have a feeling that this tiny group of people that are swing voters, if they're actually watching the election, this is really maybe the last chance for someone to really change their mind, Ashley.
Absolutely. So they're calling this election kind of make it or break it. And this is a very consequential moment in our history in the sense that here we have two candidates that we're going to be watching very closely to see what their policy positions are going to be. What are they going to say? What's their vision for America? Because like you said, we're only 57 days out. And so this is an opportunity for both candidates to be able to outline clearly to the viewers of what their vision, their policies, their path forward for our country. And it's expected that right now Trump will do well in the debate if he stays focused on his policy positions and not the name calling. It's also expected that most likely Kamala Harris, she'll be really outlining more of her vision. It's going to be more tapped into the emotions of the viewers because right now she's really failing to give her policy positions other than she's also kind of contradicting right now some of where she stands. For an example, as senator, she used to be very strongly anti-fracking. Now all of a sudden she's for fracking. She used to be for taxing tips. Now she's not for taxing tips. And so I think this is an opportunity for Trump to really call her out on her flip-flopping. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, but it's very key that viewers watch.
Well, actually, I was playing sound bites in the first hour of the show. I know you weren't able to listen, but where we were showing how this was being spun in the media on MSNBC, on CNN, and I had another clip from wherever Liz Cheney was. And They're not calling it flip-flopping. They're not calling it abandoning her principles. They're not calling it running the other direction. They're calling it moderating. She's just moderating her positions, Ashley. And I think that's very clever because it's a way to make flip-flopping sound positive.
Absolutely. And what she's also trying to do is she's trying to appeal to the voters because she desperately needs votes. And so by taking some of these Republican talking points and trying to make it sound like she's moderate, tries to help shield the fact that she's incredibly progressive. She'll say and do whatever is needed to get into basically to win November. When she makes statements that on day one, when I get into the White House, I will curb inflation. Well, you're already in the White House. You've been there for 3.5 years. And so this is a really perfect opportunity for Trump to be able to highlight these contradictories and be able to hold her feet to the fire, so to speak. But to your point, I mean, saying that she's moderate does sound better than saying flip-flop, but that's exactly what she's doing, and it's not going to help her in the long run.
Well, we're going to be watching the debate at the Angelica studios, you know, the theaters down there. You're welcome to come out, but we're going to be playing bingo. We have bingo cards. Dallas Jewish Conservatives are going to have some other things going on there. And I don't remember previous elections being this social.
You know, I just think it's entertaining, honestly, after what we watched with Biden back in June. So when you look at the rules of how this debate is going to be tomorrow, it's very similar to that of what we witnessed in June. And the way that it's positioned and the way that's happening, it doesn't really position Kamala Harris in a good position in the sense that the mics are muted. So as a former prosecutor, she's not going to be able to cross-examine Trump. They cannot ask each other questions. There are no early drafted notes. There's no props. The candidates, again, cannot ask each other questions. They will not have access to topics or questions early, according to ABC, et cetera. And so I think what we're going to be seeing is something very similar to that of what we all witnessed back in June. And I think there's anticipation that Kamala, at least from Republicans, that Kamala is going to do poorly, just like Joe Biden, especially if President Trump gives her the opportunity to just keep talking and we get her word salad, so to speak. It's expected that she's not going to do well because she's not going to have her teleprompt. She's not going to have pre-notes with her. And so I think it's going to be very difficult for her to be really outlining her policy positions, especially with the quote flip-flopping. I think where for Trump, what he's got to do in order to be careful and to win this thing, he really needs to stay focused on policy. He needs to stay cool, calm, and collective, because what she's probably going to do is do what Democrats do best, and that's identity politics. She's going to probably try to get under his skin, so to speak, to get him to start calling her names like Cackling Kamala or Comrade Kamala. And so that's not going to go in his favor if he starts calling her names, because now Americans are watching him call a woman, let alone a woman of color, names. And I think that if he loses this debate tomorrow, it's on him, not her.
Yeah, it's going to be on personality, not platforms. That's for sure. Well,
Exactly.
Listen, I know you're probably busy, but you're welcome to come out and join us at the Angelica tomorrow. If you want to see more of what Ashley does, freedomsfundusa.org, and you can also find her online if you search for Ashley Smith Thomas. It pops right up in like 8 different platforms. You have a pretty good online presence. So thanks for your time again, Ashley.
Thank you, and I'll download my bingo card.
Yeah, go get your bingo card, WBAP.com. Oh, you trying to butter up to me. That totally works. Talking about how awesome my cards are. Yeah, go get your bingo card at WBAP.com. Coming up next, you're going to hear about my epic battle against the neighbor's dog this weekend. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right, now that that's all cleared up, it's a horrible intro for my next guest. Talmadge Boston's back on The James Show. You may have seen some of his work over the years in Dallas News and DallasNews.com and elsewhere, but I want to ask you, Talmadge, about this string of endorsements for Kamala Harris. And I don't know what to think of this when I see, the people on MSNBC and CNN and The View and say, well, if Dick Cheney approves, who am I to argue?
Well, I don't know that endorsements move the needle at all, although the Dick Cheney announcement, since he's a former Republican vice president, was surprising, although obviously with his connection to his daughter, Liz Cheney, who had already endorsed Harris and who feels obviously very strongly about Donald Trump and is opposed to Donald Trump, so that wasn't surprising. But in terms of
of all these business people. Of course, Trump's theme, among others, is that if he's elected president, he's going to be better for business. He understands the economy better. He had a great run during his first term with the economy. And it's Harris's way to attempt to combat that by saying, well, I've got some business leaders on my side, too, although for the most part they're either technology company CEOs or entertainment company CEOs or Mark Cuban, people who are not your mainstream ExxonMobil, AT&T CEO, Fortune 100, old school CEOs. They're more as I said, the technology and entertainment. But nonetheless, she's trying to make a showing that, in fact, there are some very successful business people who think she'll do a fine job on the economy. So it's just an effort to counteract a perceived advantage that Trump has.
How do you think it's going to go at the debate tomorrow? There's a lot of reasons to think that Kamala Harris is not ready. There's a reason why she hasn't been out doing interviews, answering questions, doing press conferences, and she may be exposed tomorrow. What do you think about that, Talmadge?
I think her interview 10 days ago with Dana Bash showed that she's ready for prime time. She had been dodging interviews for 40 days since she became the presumptive nominee and then the actual nominee at the convention. But I thought she demonstrated a certain poise and handled Dana Bash. Dana Bash did not follow up hard on some of the questions where Harris gave evasive answers and confusing answers. But Kamala Harris did not lose it or fall apart the way Joe Biden did in the June 28th debate. So I think Harris is going to give Trump a good debate. And so in terms of who's most likely to win, if Trump sticks to the issues and talks about where Biden-Harris is particularly vulnerable on the inflation, on border security, on foreign policy, then he has a good chance of being perceived as a winner. On the other hand, if he twists off and does his usual stick of name-calling and personal attacks and bullying and so forth, then that's going to cause him to lose votes. So it all depends in terms of who's going to win on whether Trump can discipline himself to do what it takes to focus on the issues and show that he's got the better side on many of these criticisms of the Biden-Harris administration. And it all depends on whether Kamala Harris can duplicate what she did in the Dana Bash interview and appear confident, strong, and have answers that, although at times were evasive, at times were bewildering, but nonetheless, she maintained her poise. She didn't get flustered, and so she held serve, to use a tennis term, and that really is what I would expect tomorrow. That regardless of how Trump does, I don't expect her to fall apart.
All right, Talmadge Boston, where can they find your work outside of WBAP?
Well, I have a website, TalmadgeBoston.com. I'm a contributing columnist for the Dallas Morning News. I'm a lawyer at the Shackelford firm. I've got my new book, How the Best Did It, Leadership Lessons from Top Presidents, on Amazon. And so it came out in April, and I've been speaking. I spoke at the Bush Library last Thursday, had a full house, and a lot more speaking to go between now and the November election.
Let's have some of your historian segments on. We need to dig into the historian side of Talmadge Boston on the James Show coming up.
That'd be great. I'd love to do it.
Fantastic. Find him online, talmadgeboston.com. And Garrett, I do suspect that's not his Christian name. And now it's just funny for hearing radio people mocking someone for having a handle. All right, coming up next on the James Show, how about this weather? Did you hear about all the updates on how few 100-degree days we had this summer? Oh, no, you didn't hear about that? What about all the updates on how this hurricane season was supposed to be all scary and devastating? Where's all the hurricanes? We didn't get those either? We'll look at the curious absence of weather coverage coming up next on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.